What's good, everybody? RJ Sheldon here, back with another episode of Off the Top Show, BD Boys edition. As you see on the screen here, I got my good brother James Muenchow, aka Jimmer. Let's go ahead and get into it here. You already know what we do on here, but let's talk about these Packers. I mean, what an unreal game here. They went ahead and beat the Steelers 35-25. Talk to me about an unreal performance by we know who, but obviously talk about the offense, and then obviously let's go ahead and talk about the defense because there are some things you're like, good God Almighty, what's going on? So let's break that down, and then we'll go ahead and get into obviously this coming weekend.
I'm gonna start with let's start with the good, and the good is something like all around good. All around good was the defense. Um, it, they got. I mean, they had their moments where they got put into some really tough positions by the offense in the first half, where there was three and out, back to back drives, which was the end of that, close to the end of the half. But they held Pittsburgh to a lot of long field goals. Like if you had Boswell on your team for fantasy, which by the way, homie did, um, you had a great week. So Boswell was just hitting bombs from all over Heinz Field. Um, but they were which is really shocking to me because if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin coaches like as if it was 2005.
Yeah,
They are last in the NFL in fourth down attempts. They are not analytically driven like the rest of the NFL is. Like you see Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh. It's not. He does not coach like the modern NFL, and it played into Green Bay's favor because the fourth down came and they were in field goal range. They were just kicking field goals. They weren't trying for touchdowns. So he played as if he had a defense like Green Bay's, and they do not. So that defense made the offense of the Steelers look old and slow, which they are older and slower. They forced Aaron Rodgers to have 9 dropbacks, uh, 5 QB pressures, and 3 sacks, and that is all because of Jeff Halfley has started to. I mean, you saw the film on Sunday Night Football how they highlighted Micah Parsons. He was getting double teamed damn near every play, which is what you got to do against a guy like that. So what do? Instead of just keeping him on the edge, they tried putting him in the middle in a stance, like on all fours and 3 point, whatever you want to, whatever he's comfortable with. They started putting him what you and I used to call in high school flex back. So flex backer or an X backer. They just said, all right, we're gonna go a 3-man front. Devontae Wyatt, you're gonna line up over the nose. Micah, just time the snap and get a running start and just bull rush people. And if you get Micah Parsons, an athlete like that, a running start, he's gonna run. He's gonna do what he did, which is create havoc. Which is him and Devontae Wyatt push that pocket in, causes people to step up. The D ends either causes the quarterback to flush to the left or right out of the pocket, which hopefully Rashawn Gary, JJ Enigbare, Lucas Van Ness, even though he didn't play, somebody's there to get the person rushing out. Or as Aaron Rodgers did, he stepped up. You maintain your rush integrity, your lanes, and he just fell into arms. And Rashawn Gary was the person who benefited from that the most. He had 2 sacks. So, and it was all from stepping up, and then Rashawn Gary said, okay, the pocket's pushed in. He's just reading the quarterback, and he tried to step inside. Didn't work. So Jeff Halfley has figured out a way to move Micah Parsons around, get him going, try to get him off double teams, or if he is going to get double teamed, get him a running head start and try to break through the double team and just create fucking havoc. Devontae Wyatt being back immediately made that team better because, again, he's pushing the pocket in. He's their best defensive interior pass rusher. And while he's also their best interior defensive lineman. And so he changed that game significantly as well. So Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper had a really good game. He forced a fumble, which was really the big turning point of the game. With their pass rush as well, they put in the second half for sure. They put the Steelers at a lot of passing situations, which the past couple weeks, their secondary hasn't played well. Let's just being honest. I think no one's going to disagree. They haven't played well. They sat Nate Hobbs. They benched Nate Hobbs, their big free agent acquisition at cornerback for Carrington Valentine. And Carrington Valentine played a hell of a game. Like he played a great game. Where on the flip side, Keyshawn Nixon, that's a game to fucking forget. Please, I was like, put Nate Hobbs in there because anything right now is better than Keyshawn Nixon. Keyshawn is not having a good go right now in the past couple weeks. So hopefully he gets his head out of his ass because he had all this talk about I'm QB1. I don't want to return kicks. Well, if you're QB1, you're the worst. CB1. If you're CB1, you're one of the worst ones in the league right now. So you damn sure ain't playing like it. So, but they get bailed out because obviously you got Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt. They blitzed once the whole game, and they are playing defense again, like how Matt LaFleur envisioned playing defense, rushing 4, dropping 7, and I don't think people realize how important that is to have 7 guys in coverage against 4, maybe even 3 to maybe 5, because one guy's going short. So if it's 5, one guy's going short, that's covered by the linebackers. Another guy might be going short, intermediate, that's covered by at least 2 or 3 guys, and then leaves the other 2 guys covered by 2 or 3. It depending on where they go, they're at least going to have 2 guys on them in a zone. So if you can do that while getting pressure on the quarterback, and we saw the Eagles do it last year in the Super Bowl, all through the playoffs, and they were dominant. If they continue playing like this, dude, man, and they give up 25 points, which the last touchdown was garbage time points. And again, Oswell had himself a day. If he misses one of those, I mean, this game could be completely different. So again, hats off to the defense. That's probably the best game they played since, as a complete game, I would want to say since week 1, maybe even against the Browns. That's a tough one to gauge because the Browns were back at that point in time. You expect to hold the Browns offense to that. But against Arizona, they didn't play that well. Against Cincinnati, they definitely didn't play that well. So they're tinkering things. They're tinkering things. Again, the Micah Parsons thing with him being a 2-point, getting him moving around before the snap on 3rd down, 2nd down, what have you. They're messing around with things and it's working. Hats off to the defense. Again, you look at 25 points and go, did they really play that good of a game? Yeah. If Boswell doesn't make 3 50-yard field goals, that game's domination at its finest. So again, hats off to the defense. Now we move to the offense.
Hold on before you get on the offense. A question for you.
Yes.
Do you right now? Do you find another corner to go ahead alongside Valentine? Do we cross arms, cross the
Probably
T's? Not. No, you don't think so? Because there's a lot of people that think that they want a guy to come in. You know how we are. We're greedy. We want to go ahead and get it fixed right away. Talk to me about that in a brief stint.
No, I don't. Let me just answer your question with another question. How many mid-season trade acquisitions has Green Bay made in the past 10 years?
Yeah, none.
Not many. So right. Y'all are going to read stuff come trade deadline, unless it's, cornerback is probably one of the easier positions to trade for if you're playing what Jeff Hafley plays, which is straight cover 3. If you're trying to trade for an outside cornerback and you're playing cover 3, cover 4, all primarily, or maybe some man-to-man here and there, you could do that. I just don't see it. I really, unless the price is right or some guy really wants out that has no behavioral issue, I just don't see it. I think the chances of that happening are about 10%. I think it's that low.
Yeah. I think, and I already talked about it, but I get Rasul Douglas back as soon as possible. You see his contract; he's a 1.5, and he's a free agent next year. I'm just throwing it out there.
Hey, I get it. That's like the person they would bring back, because again, the past trades they've made have all been guys that have played for the Packers. So like
Right.
Randall Cobb, they traded for Randall Cobb. Guess what? He played for Green Bay, obviously. Like
Right.
they were trading for all of Aaron Rodgers' friends. So Rasul Douglas would probably be the guy I would think they would bring back if they were going to bring someone back. Which I wouldn't mind at all, but I just don't see it. But who knows? We didn't see Micah Parsons coming to Green Bay either. We thought that was a bunch of hoopla, and here we
Yeah.
are. You
Right.
know, so they have a window, as we all know. And Gutekunst went out and got Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons through trade. You don't have first round assets, but usually your trade deadline assets are mostly third round picks at the highest. So if you're going to give somebody up, you're giving up at most a third round pick. If you can get a guy for a fifth, we've seen guys get traded for fifths and fourths where we're like Christ, we couldn't give up that for. I think DeAndre Hopkins got traded for a fifth, or Amari Cooper. What was it last
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
From Cleveland to Buffalo, he got traded for a fifth. So it's not out of the question, but I think the possibility of that is very low. Again, for an outside corner in this system, I think that's one of the easier positions to trade for, because Jeff Halfley's outside corners are playing primarily cover 3, cover 4. Maybe some cover 2, but it's probably a really easy position to play in the sense of studying up. It's probably not very complex. Middle of the field for Jeff Halfley's defense is very complex. So not out of the question, but I just don't see it happen because, again, when's the last trade deadline deal the Green Bay Packers have made in the past 10 years? I don't think any. If there was, it was a backup guy, nothing that was game changing. So I don't see it happening.
Thought I asked, but go ahead and talk about the offense, man. Go ahead and talk about them.
Offense, just the same shit, different story. Like what we've seen for most of this year, a tale of two halves. The first half, you came out of the gate, and first drive, you kind of had some success. You missed a field goal. Okay. Thought there were some things they could have built on. The second drive, I think they came out, scored touchdown. And then third drive, I think you made a field goal your first drive, scored a touchdown. I can't fucking remember. Oh yeah, they missed 2 field goals. They missed 2 field goals. I forgot about that. So they missed 2 field goals, but you were both you were moving, but you just couldn't string the finishing touches on 2 of the 3 drives. And the thing that really started, bless you, the thing that really started to frustrate you was at the third drive when they missed the second field goal. It was pretty evident on third down that the Steelers were going to bring lots of pressure and play man coverage. And Matt LaFleur kept playing, okay, let's get into a 5-step drop and run 15-yard routes that take time to develop, instead of, oh, they're going to bring the house and play man coverage. Well, let's just go laterally, or let's get something out quick. You didn't see it. It didn't happen. Or let's move the pocket. Let's take advantage of these man coverage, because I think Green Bay with Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, and the return of Christian Watson have great man-to-man beating wide receivers, along with Tucker Kraft, who I think is a mismatch for a linebacker. So they just weren't doing that, and it was really agitating. Like it was frustrating. And then you went back-to-back 3-and-outs, which put the defense in a really tough spot. Luckily, they kind of held their ground and only gave up 16 points at the half. So going into halftime, you were just like, I was questioning if Matt LaFleur's the guy. I'm seeing things where I'm like, this is an easy adjustment. Like from the get, they've been bringing pressure on third down and playing man-to-man coverage. I know you have schemed up shit and schemed up plays to beat that man-to-man coverage, but he just wasn't doing it, and it made me question: is Matt LaFleur the guy? Are Are we ever going to take this next step where we can play a full 4-quarter football game? Or are we just going to be okay, well, we were really good this half, so that means next half shit, or we were really shit this half, and we're going to be really good the next half? Well, that was the case. They came out on the second half, and they made some adjustments, and it wasn't even fair. I mean, Jordan Love came out, looked like a damn MVP, and 20 consecutive completed passes. I don't think people realize how fucking stupid that of a stat that is in the NFL. I don't care what anyone's talking about how bad the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is. You have Jalen Ramsey, you have Darius Slay, you have Patrick Queen, you have JJ Watt or TJ Watt, and you have Cam Hayward. I don't care if they're bad; those are great individuals. And you throw Joey Porter Jr. in there. I mean, he looks pretty good. I mean, I think they're probably schemed wrong for this defense. I mean, I know they want to play more man coverage and bring pressure, but anybody in the NFL, if they know you're going to bring pressure, can beat man-to-man coverage blitz. Like they didn't even try to all right, we're going to bring pressure. Hey, we're backed out. Now we're playing zone. They just said, hey, we're bringing pressure. Try to beat us. And Green Bay is like, oh, okay. Tucker Kraft, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson. It was crazy how they refused to abandon that strategy on third down. So then Jordan Love, the Tucker Kraft throw, the first one, I was like, oh, this is bad. Oh no, this is real bad. And then he came down with it, and I'm like, huh, there he goes. I'm like, there he goes. And then from there, it was just like shooting fish in a goddamn barrel. I give credit to Matt LaFleur because the run game wasn't getting going, and he took out Josh Jacobs for some reason. I don't know if he was hurt or if he was just needed a breather. Emmanuel Wilson came on, and all of a sudden they're running north and south, really quick hitting north and south runs, and they were hitting them for 5 to 6 yards a carry. And he stuck with it with Emmanuel Wilson. So I give credit to Matt LaFleur for sticking with the hot hand. Usually it's, oh, we found these series of plays. Let's put back Josh Jacobson. I don't know. Again, I didn't hear anything if Josh Jacobs was just hurt, but if he wasn't hurt, then credit to Matt LaFleur. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like he stuck with Emmanuel Wilson, and Emmanuel Wilson had a great game in the second half. So, and I mean, that offensive performance, they outscored the Steelers 28-9 in the second half. That's domination. That's just crazy. The Steelers scored a garbage time touchdown to get it to 10, and then they only scored 3 points for the whole half. That's domination. That's at one point Aaron Rodgers had 164 yards of passing, and then he ended up with 220 or something, but that was all garbage time. So you want to look at the real part of the game. The Green Bay Packers in the second half absolutely dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the first half, they kept shooting. I mean, and don't get me wrong, they had a lot of things go their way too. DK Metcalf getting a personal foul. There's a lot. The Steelers were chippy. They were frustrated. And Green Bay, again, the two guys I was most worried about was three guys. Keyshawn Nixon, because he seems to always want to jaw and fucking get himself in trouble. Quay Walker, which the old Quay Walker 2 years ago would have punched DK Metcalf right in the face. He may have gotten ejected. DK would have got maybe ejected, but he kept his cool and he got 15 yards, which then stalled another drive for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then Green Bay came back and scored again. And then there was another Pittsburgh 15-yard penalty. Pittsburgh couldn't get out of their own way, and Green Bay just said, fine, we'll take it, and they took full advantage of everything that Pittsburgh gave them. So things went their way as well. I'm not saying weren't things that didn't go Green Bay's way, but it was, you gave Green Bay an inch, they took a mile. So again, second half, and it really frustrates you when you listen to Matt LaFleur's post-game speech to the team. He's like, we got to be like that second half, all 4 quarters. It's like, hey, Matt, by the way, that's on you, bud. The offense being stagnant, that's on you. The defense is all Jeff Halfley. I don't think Matt LaFleur has much input on the defense, but hey, buddy, that's your problem. Like, figure out ways to get the. I just don't think he knows. And this was the youngest team in the NFL versus the oldest team in the NFL, if not one of the oldest. But if the Steelers aren't the oldest team in the NFL, they got to be top three. And you have got. I mean, their defense proved like their offense was way too slow to even try to compete with Green Bay's defense. Like the Green Bay's defensive speed was just absolutely crazy for that type of offense. But the Green Bay offense, you have Christian Watson and Matthew Golden. I understand Jalen Ramsey is a top 5 cornerback to ever play the game. I understand Darius Slay, really good corner, possibly a Hall of Famer. I'm not sure about that, but he's been a really good household name corner for the past 7 to 8 years. Joey Porter Jr. played a really good game, and you got Patrick Queen in the middle. But you have Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, who are 4-3 guys against these old farts. And I just don't know if Matt LaFleur knows how to use their speed. Like, I really don't. I don't know because he's not using it. So he's still trying to let's be balanced with the run with Jacobs, and like Jordan Love completed 20 passes in a row. Bro, just sling the rock. Pass the ball and then throw him off guard with a run, which he started to do with Emmanuel Wilson. And it worked. So it's frustrating. It really is frustrating to watch Green Bay's offense because they look like they did in the second half, and you go, how the hell do you look like this? And then you put out that first. Like, where can we get some consistency where this is through all 4 quarters? Like, I'm not saying they have to score every time they touch the ball, but if you spread out the 3 and outs, I don't know if they punted once in the second half. I don't think they punted once. I might be wrong. If they punted, yeah, and they punted 3 times in the first. Like,
yep.
If you could spread all that out, like let's put this game into perspective. If you mixed in some things that happened in the first half versus things that happened in the second half, we'd be talking about how great of a complete-ish game that the Green Bay Packers played. But no, you put up 7 points in the first half, but then you explode for 28. Like, why can't we go like 14 points for 21 and then 21 and 14? Like, it's frustrating. So it really begs you the question of when are they going to find their stride like they did? I'm not saying like that was their ceiling. What they did in Jordan Love's first year as a starter, the last 8 games when they went on that tear, that's what it can look like. And especially now that you've got this defense with the addition of Micah Parsons, if you look like that, Super Bowl. Y'all can test me on that. If that offense starts looking like it did for the last 7 games of Jordan Love's first year, if they catch fire like that, Super Bowl. It's done deal. Like I have all the confidence in the world saying that with that defense. So again, they got a tough, or not a tough one, but they got a tricky one coming up this weekend that you hope you're at home and you get the home crowd back into it again. And you hope to continue just to roll and stay on top of this division.
And what I'm reading right now, Bryce Young is a full go. He's going to play in the game. The spread as of right now, they have, this is just what I'm looking at on US Today.
7.5, 8.5?
7.5 Packers. The
over-under
is
all the way
45.5. And then there's some, let's see here. They got here on Bet MGM. They got the Packers minus 13.5.
Low.
Excuse me, that's DraftKings. But it's probably the same thing, to be honest. That's quite
13.5 is a lot of wood, but so I'll say this. It's at home. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. If it's raining, we've seen what rain does. It's an equalizer for the bad teams versus the good teams.
Yes.
I don't know what the weather's going to be like. It's probably going to be chilly, which is fine.
So it's clear.
Let it be chilly.
It says cloudy with 52 degrees or 50 degrees, excuse me.
Oh, that's a perfect day. God, that's a great day. That's a beautiful fall Green Bay Day. What time's the game at? Is it noon?
It is at noon, so you're going to get good weather right away.
Perfect.
It's going to be
Yeah, yeah. So
peak
it's gonna be
time.
yeah. So weather's gonna be a non-factor. I don't know if it's gonna be windy or not. That's the only thing that kind of worries me. You got to get this run game going. I don't understand what the problem is this year. You have a better, in my opinion, you have a better offensive line this year than you did last year. And last year you were just cramming it down people's throats. I don't know if that's just the schedule that you had last year, because again, Green Bay had one of the easier schedules in the league. But you were just cramming it down people's throats, and now all of a sudden, I don't know what the dealio is. Good Lord, like how is it this hard? Now, like, again, Cam Hayward has been a run-stopping D tackle for years. They had another big fella in there. Something's got to give in this run game. Either you got to, I mean, you're not going to sit Josh Jacobs. You got to change your philosophy on run game. Start running stretches, or start running pound and dives up the middle. You got to try something different because it's just not working. So, but if they get that run game going, and this team, both offense and defense, if you get a lead, good luck. Because if this offense can give that defense a lead and make teams play from behind, that just feeds into Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt. And if Lucas Van Ness comes back, Lucas Van Ness. Like, good Lord. So that should be, I mean, obviously Matt LaFleur wants to play with a lead offensively because we've seen what he can do from behind in games when it gets to crunch time. Now, behind in the second half, they didn't look panicked. Green Bay didn't look panicked being behind 9 at half. They came out and they made their adjustments on offense and they just steamrolled people. So that's a good sign of veteran. They're starting to be there before, kind of like the Brewers. When the Brewers are down this year, you saw no panic at a team and a team that believed they could come back from any deficit. So if Green Bay's like that, perfect. Then they don't panic, and that means Matt LaFleur's not panicking because we've seen what happens when Matt LaFleur panics being down. You want to get Bryce Young uncomfortable right away. Well, I don't know. You could say, oh, then blitz them a lot. That's not what they're doing. Like, Carolina knows what Green Bay's going to do. They're going to rush 4, and then there's going to be something on the back end that's going to be funky. Whether it looks like cover 2, and then all of a sudden it's cover 3, whether it looks like cover 3, and then it turns into cover 2. They're going to try to trick Bryce Young, and then so you got stopping the run doesn't seem like Green Bay's problem this year. It's if teams want to start throwing the ball because Keyshawn Nixon and thankfully Carrington Valentine's starting now because he looked really good last week. And Xavier McKinney, I mean, I don't know if teams are just so afraid to throw over the middle because of Xavier McKinney, try to take deep shots because he just plays center field. Evan Williams playing really good this year. Javon Bullard hasn't had the greatest of years. He's been in the slot most of the time, and he really isn't that good of a slot, in my opinion. But it's the second year, so hopefully give that time. But if you get a lead on this Carolina Panthers team and then just start teeing off on them on the defensive line, I think Carolina just folds. So I think Green Bay should win this by 10 to 14 points easily. I mean, I hope this is one of those games where it's just an ass kicking from the start and it's 20 points. I mean, because I'm sick of watching games and having anxiety the whole goddamn game and losing years off my life. I would like one blowout every now and again, please. Thank the Lord. So I could see this game being 21, but knowing Green Bay, they like to fuck around and find out. They might dick around for the first half or be really good the first half and then dick around in the second half and make this thing close and come down to onside kicks, special teams plays where that might be a blunder. It's just something stupid like that. Hopefully, again, I can easily see them winning this by 21, but if they win this by 10 to 14, I think that'd be a good win.
It'll be a game. Let's move on over to the Badger football team here. They went ahead and lost to the Oregon Ducks 21-7.
They scored.
Many people might look at this as a, oh, wow, like we lost or whatever. But, I mean, you just hold Oregon Ducks, Dante Moore, and that high-powered offense to 21 points. and you had them at least under 100 yards. But at the same time, it's the same thing we've been saying day in and day out throughout this Wisconsin Badger team. If you have no offense, you can't do anything. Talk to me about this game here, if you want to talk about it, because at this point, this is what we're going to see for the remainder of the year.
I mean, let's take this game with a grain of salt. It was a monsoon out there.
And they're lucky it was a monsoon.
Yeah, that's why it was 21-7. If this game was a clear, no wind, no rain game, it'd have been 50 to nothing. Count it. So, but they were lucky because it was raining, and Oregon couldn't, and that feeds right into Wisconsin's defense, because if you can't throw the ball, Wisconsin has a huge defensive line, and they're gonna stop the run. They're gonna be physical. So this fed right into Wisconsin's defense, but guess what? Wisconsin has no offense, so it doesn't really matter. There's not much to say about. Again, you look at this team. They got Washington coming up. I've watched Washington play the past 2 weeks. That's a good football team. I just don't see them winning this game. I don't see Wisconsin realistically winning any game until maybe Minnesota, which is their last game of the year, because it's a rivalry game. You got the Axe. But realistically, you look at the rest of their schedule, I don't think they're winning a single game. I think they're going to get piss pounded this weekend because, again, Washington's a good football team. That quarterback they have, I don't know his name, but I've watched him play a couple times. He runs. He's an athlete. So they took Michigan to the brink at the Big House. They were 5-1 at one point. It's not a bad football team. This is not a slouch team, and so I don't know what the spread is. Probably take Washington, unless it's raining again. Then take Wisconsin points as the dog. But this is just not a good football team because the quarterback isn't good, and they can't sustain any drives for their defense to get off the field, get a break. So then they just get wore down. Again, I don't think they're going to be winning another game this season, and the only one they have a chance to win is Minnesota, and that's on the road at Minnesota. So good luck with that too, because at home, it seems like Wisconsin actually plays better on the road. If you look at their road games, besides Alabama, they look like they play better on the road. I don't know why. Don't ask me, but the product is better on the road than it is at home. So we'll see, but I just don't see them winning another game this entire season until maybe Minnesota, and that's the last game of the year. And that would mean if they don't win any game, they're 0-for in the conference. And I don't care who you are, unfortunately. I mean, the AD came out and said it, that he's behind Fickle and he's going to do this, that, whatever. I mean, actions speak louder than words. But you go 0-for in the conference, that's a fireable offense. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you won Coach of the Year. Any program like Wisconsin, anyway, with any kind of prestige or history, you go 0-for in conference, it's a fireable offense. I don't care who you are. I mean, even one win is a fireable offense. But you win that, you get that one win, and you bring the big fucking axe back to Wisconsin, people are going to be all giddy about it. But, I mean, something's got to change. And, I mean, by next year, if Luke Fickle's still coaching, and we're still talking about the same damn things, we're going to see another coaching change. And I think they're going to bring back somebody like a Jim Leonard to get back into their roots. I don't see a guy like James Franklin coming. I don't see a guy like Brian Kelly coming. I don't see anybody like that, because they just shelled out a bunch of money to Luke Fickle to do nothing. So, and I think the University of Wisconsin's cheap. Look at their NIL deals. Look, besides their Wisconsin basketball program, I think they're cheap. They're going to bring back a guy like Jim Leonard for cheap, maybe $1 million or $2 million a year, more than what Luke Fickle's or less than what Luke Fickle's getting paid right now. And we're going to be starting all over again, starting this whole fucking thing all over again. So, again, it's just the same. It's going to be the same shit, just a different story. Until maybe Axe Week, and even Axe Week, it might be like, well, that was a bad football team, and they got beat. So, on to the next one. And unfortunately, they could win 2, 3 games magically. They still ain't getting invited to a bowl game because who wants to invite a team like that to a bowl game? Nobody. So they're not a bowl team. I don't think they're not even going to win 2, 3 games. They're not. I don't even know if they're going to win one. So this is going to be painful if you're a Wisconsin Badger fan and like a hardcore one. Guess what? You're going to have what do we got? 5 more Saturdays? 6 more? 5 more, I think.
Yeah, we got 5 more.
But you got 5 more painful Saturdays coming at you. So maybe make plans.
4 more.
Cut 4 more? 4. Oh, even better. You got a month's worth of Saturdays that's going to be really painful. So maybe think about doing something else. Maybe make some plans, because they got Indiana on the road. Good luck. They got Illinois at home. Not happening. And then they got Washington and Minnesota. Like, I just don't see any of that happening. So maybe make different plans. Just do something else. Maybe if you want to turn it on and be like, oh, they're losing again. It's cool. Switch back. Apple picking season is almost over. Hunting season's coming up. Maybe go work your deer stands. Maybe go plant some food plots. You should have done that in July. Maybe do something else. Just don't torture yourself with all this stuff.
And that's why we got the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's go ahead and talk about them here. They went ahead and had a huge game last night, beating the Knicks 121-111. The prior games they went 2-1, beating the Wizards, beating the Raptors, and losing to the Cavaliers. But we had KPJ out, so we don't know what that outcome could have been. We still got them down to the wire. But let's talk about this Knicks games here. If you do know about all of this, media situation where it comes to small market, big markets, they want Giannis in a shitty ass blue, orange, white, whatever you want to call it. He wants Spike Lee to be his homie. Not happening. We went ahead and made that clear. He made that clear on the court. Talk to me about this game.
Well, last night's game, it was a really back and forth affair, which is what the NBA is. One team goes on a 10-0 run, the other team's going to come back with a 10-0 run. One team goes on an 8-2 run, team's going to come back and go on an 11-2 run. It was a game of runs. I was a little nervous for the Bucks because I think this was your first, correct me if I'm wrong, legitimate big man they played.
Yeah. This is the
Anthony
best
Towns.
team. They played the Cavaliers, which was another top team, finished first in the obviously Eastern Conference,
and they took them to the brink.
Play another big team. So this was 2 games that you look at like, we're playing competition. So you're gonna meet the eye test or whatever you want to look at it as.
Those were the 2 teams you're going to meet in April and May, and in the playoffs. Yes. And absolutely. I think they passed the eye test brilliantly. Honestly, Giannis looks like a goddamn force right now. Again, it's early, everybody's healthy, but the dude is averaging 36 points a game. Jesus. It just looks a lot better, faster. It looks more fluent. They're not being Giannis dependent per se. AJ Green looks more involved. It's coming from Ryan Rollins looks fantastic. There's your surprise of the season. Why is his name forgetting me? Number 50, Cole Anthony. Point guard. Cole Anthony looks great. He fits in with this system real well. The difference on the reason it looks faster and that they move more is because they got Miles Turner now instead of fucking prehistoric Brooke Lopez's big fucking ass moving up and down the court at the speed of goddamn, I don't even know. What's the sound? Something that's slow, but he's moving slower than molasses out there. So, but Miles Turner now, you're running up and down the court faster. Gary Trent Jr. looks really good. Again, Ryan Rollins looks fantastic. Like that's a guy who's taken a step. AJ Green doing his D&3 shit. Again, homie don't know ball, but it just looks faster. And they look more intense, and they just look younger, which is good. They were an old team, and it just looks like a team that is just going to outwork you. And again, against the Cavaliers and the Knicks, I was worried about the Knicks game last night because that was your first legitimate game with a dominant big man, and they passed that test. And Guess who was guarding Karl Anthony Towns on the defensive end? It was Giannis. It wasn't Miles Turner. And I love that because that's your best big man defender. Giannis is, I mean, but then you got, if you want to rotate, then Miles just goes into the paint. And both of those guys are just blocking everything. Like Giannis going from one end of the floor to the other with a block and then a jam. It just, and then Doc Rivers said they're going to shoot more threes this year. So basically, you're taking what Mike Budenholzer was doing beforehand and just letting them loose. And guess what's happening? They are shooting really well. Like this team has shooters on the team, very underrated shooters in AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr. Miles Turner can shoot the three. Giannis is even shooting the three, which so every time he does, I'm like, no, don't do that. And Ryan Rollins, Cole Anthony, they have some really underrated shooters. And we haven't really, the people that are really actually looking disappointing is Kyle Kuzma, not surprising actually. And a guy who I've been very critical of, who looked really good last year and really is kind of doing nothing this year, Bobby Portis. Like when those two are on the floor, the defense is really bad. So are they just cold? Are they just not fitting the system? Is the system too much for them? You never know. And is that something you look to later in the season and maybe try to offload? I mean, people are trying to say the Bucks front office is stupid for not trying to trade Kyle Kuzma. I guarantee they're trying to trade Kyle Kuzma. But Kuzma is expensive. He's $18 million to $19 million a year. Who's going to take that contract for Kyle Kuzma? Nobody. So you're going to have to tough it out this year. Then he's off the books. You never have to see him again unless he's playing against Milwaukee. Unless they re-sign him for cheap, I don't see it. But that deal was to get Chris Middleton off the books with his hefty contract. And guess what? I mean, Chris Middleton looked pretty darn good the first week of the season. But there's 81 more games to play. And his ankles are, for lack of a better term, shot. Like there's been a lot of surgery on those ankles and a lot of miles on those ankles. So we'll see how much he actually plays with the Washington Wizards. But again, Bobby Portis and Kyle Kuzma are kind of your low spots this year, and those are the guys. Bobby Portis was the guy that was probably the most productive last year down the stretch. So again, you don't have to worry about. It looks more of a team game. Correct me if I'm wrong. For the Milwaukee Bucks this year, instead of Giannis and Dame running pick and roll, high pick and roll. You know, the offense is running through everybody, not just Giannis. Like AJ Green's more involved, Miles Turner's more involved, Cole Anthony, Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr. It just looks like more of a team basketball for the Milwaukee Bucks than ISO Dame, ISO Giannis. You know, when Bobby Portis touches the ball, he's a black hole. When Brook touches the ball, he's a black hole. It just looks way better than what it did last year from my point of view, which again, homie don't know ball, but you watch from the past couple of years, it just looks better. It looks different, looks selfless, where kind of like how the Knicks were, how they were talking about the Knicks, how the Knicks are leading the league in passes per game. Like, and that number, when I heard how many passes they're averaging a game, I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of passes. I think they're in the 300s, where it finds good players. They were talking about how sometimes offenses are so selfless that it finds your good players. Jalen Brunson had 37 points, and they were hardly running ISO, in my opinion. He was just finding, the ball was just finding him in good areas. I mean, yeah, he'd take his drive, but it was finding him. It was finding Karl Anthony Towns. So I think that's the same thing with the Milwaukee Bucks. It's not as much ISO-driven ball. They're telling guys to let loose on the three, and it's finding Giannis, and Giannis finds a lot by himself too. But it's finding Giannis, and Giannis is just taking advantage of it. Like that last night, that was killer instinct Giannis right there. That was Giannis taking over his city and telling people who the MVP should be this year. Enough of this voter fatigue bullshit. He's the damn MVP.
Right on, man. No, absolutely. It's just good to see just a new, fresh Bucks, young bodies, Giannis playing at a high level. dope as hell. I mean, that last night I was fired up last night, and that's just game 4. So
Yeah,
I was geeked. I was geeked.
It
I
looks,
love what I saw.
again, it looks younger. It looks younger. They look younger. They look like they're running better. Like a team, the Knicks last year with that team, they would have gotten ran off the floor. Like no question about it. They were just old and slow. They got younger. They got younger bodies out there. They're more blue collar. Um, and they just keep up with the pace better. So, which is good because they were getting run off the floor by a lot of teams last year, and with Brook Lopez being old and slow, Damian Lillard being not. I mean, Damian Lillard can still shoot the rock, but he's old. Like he's kind of up there. So, um, yeah, really good so far. First 4 games, is small sample size, but Doc even looks like he's changing his ways, which is good to see because if it wasn't good, you and I both know he'd been out the door. Like we don't trust Doc Rivers, but it looks like he's dipping into his bench more than what he usually did and trusting young guys more. And these young guys are producing for him.
Absolutely, he's trusting his coaches finally. But they got the
Yes.
Warriors, they got the Kings, they got the Pacers, they got the Raptors. That one is going to be tomorrow, which is going to be Thursday.
Thursday.
And then Saturday they face the Kings, and then next week Monday they face the Pacers, and then Tuesday they face the Raptors.
Is the Pacers at home or in Indiana?
That one is in Indiana.
That's gonna be cinema with Miles Turner returning and the Boobers. Like that's gonna be a hostile crowd right there. Don't get me wrong, the Warriors tomorrow is always gonna be a good game with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. But that Monday game, that's going to be a great way to finish your Monday is for that Bucks game because that's going to be as hostile as a crowd as you'll ever see.
No, absolutely. And then before we take you out, obviously the Badgers play the Washington Huskies. That is to be determined. Yikes. And then our Packers go ahead and face the Panthers at noon Sunday. Jimmer, it's always a pleasure. Everyone, we will see you sooner rather than later. Peace out.